Let's go ahead and set up the basic scene. This is going to be what we use for our coding. We're just going to have a backdrop that we have with objects that are available to use during that process. So in the 3D game kit, and remember if you're not using the 3D game kit, all the things we're going to do, you're just simply going to use the basic shapes, basic objects, and that's still going to be fine. The 3D game kit inside of here, you can go down to prefabs. If you go down to the environment and stonework, this is going to allow us to have some shapes to be able to use. If you notice, you click on any of the prefabs here, they're going to show up over on the inspector side, and you'll be able to see the model right there. So you can go through this list. I'm going to make just simply a scene inside of here. If your options by default, you may have some of these options on. For me, I'm going to turn off the wire and the show grid and show 3D icons. If you notice, like the floor panel 2x2, the position is 0, 0, 0. For a prefab, if it's set for that, if you drag this and drop it into the hierarchy panel, it's going to come in at the values set right here. If I drag this in and just simply move it around in my scene, it's going to come up wherever I drop it. All right, so I'm going to zoom into this one. This is going to be the shape that the object that we'll work with here. So with this one, what we want to do is make a copy of it, Control D. Remember, that's going to duplicate. We can use the V key, hold down V. Remember, this is going to go for the vertex point. And then I can actually move this to all the vertices that are around the vertex points. So notice we have a nice water kind of shader. Looks good when you rotate around and you see it in the light. So let's make a copy of both of these. Remember, selecting multiple is Control and then left click on each of those. So we've made a copy of both, holding down the V key again. We're just going to take it, find the edge that you have over here, holding V, and then just move it to the other side. And then be sure, just kind of go in, make sure that yes, these are connected. So we're just going to set up a basic scene here, but let's go ahead and save our scene out. So let's push Control S to save. We're going to go in for a folder. There's a sample scene in there right now. We're just going to say this is our code scene. We'll do a capital C for the code scene. And that's going to place it inside our folder down here, which is at the very bottom, called code scene. All right, so we have a floor on here, but let's go ahead and add a couple of extra elements to this. Let's put some walls that go around it. So let's find some walls that we could actually use. And it looks like there's a wall corner, a wall broken, and then we have some big walls and short walls, walls with shapes. So we're going to use that wall long and a couple of variations of it. So I'm just going to left click and drag it out in the scene. We'll do this one as well. Okay. So we have 3 different wall sections that we can use. Again, remember to move these together, you can just hold V. You can actually snap those together like this. Now notice these are 2 different walls. And then we can look at this one, double check it as well. We'll hold V, snap it over here. And if your snapping doesn't work for you in the angle that you have, just simply change angles so that it'll work for you. So that one again, still a little bit of an issue. We're just going to move this one over so we can see it a little bit clearer. There we go. So these 2 walls look like they go together nicely. Pretty close. Yeah, looks like just from those 2, we could use them, but they definitely have a little bit of space in them. So I'll go ahead and use those, this one and this one, and we'll move these to the back. Again, use V, snap it to a point. So then we have it snapped in, and then we'll use this one. Let's make a copy of it, and then we'll make sure that these are snapped together. Now the long wall, again, if you have on your on the pivot point up here, its pivot is for the object like this one is instead of center. If I go to rotate it, it's going to rotate each one separately. Now, if we don't want it to be separate, you want to make sure the pivot goes to center. That means that when it rotates, it's going to rotate collectively, it's going to rotate together like this. So I'm going to rotate this around to 90 degrees. And then again, using the V key, we'll use this to snap it to a vertex. There we go. So now we have a wall set up right there. This wall, since it's like really close, but it's also, because it's a little bit off, we'll place a object on the side of it. That way it blocks it from it. All right, so then we also want to do one more wall. We'll use the wall piece that we have right here. Push Control D to duplicate. Rotate it again 90 degrees. And then just use the V key to snap it over there. Be sure your move tool is on. So there we go. We'll move this back just a little bit right there. So now we have a wall interior piece. And then the next thing that we want to do is go and add a couple of extra pieces on the inside. Let's use the small door, this one. And we'll actually put the small door, let's rotate this one 90 degrees this way. And we'll go ahead and start with a snapping, see how close we can get to a flat edge on it. And then we're just going to move it forward like this. And let's see where we want to place it. We could place it right in front of that brake, or actually, how about we do right next to it? We can kind of line up some of the green so the green matches. All right, and again, this is just going to be me playing with it for a little bit. At the same time, feel free to jump in with your own style and pieces and parts and work through those until you get a basic setup here. So this one's a corner piece. I might actually just add it at an angle. We'll see if that works. We'll do a nice corner on this side so it looks like there's been brake all down through there. And this side's just kind of nice and clean. And see if this has a side to it. Let's see. It's got two, so we'll do like another angle on it. There we go. So at this point, we're just kind of lining up some of the things and trying to make them feel like they belong, but also at the same time have it so that you can kind of tell a story. Basically, we're setting in a door so we can have some interaction there. We have a floor that we placed in. And then what we can do is on the side, we could actually have something that feels like it's going to go somewhere. So we could have a set of stairs. We could even have some broken stairs down here since we have a broken, some of these pieces are broken. And again, I would definitely just encourage you to have some fun with it. Even if you're going through this just to look at to develop your programming skills, take a moment to get some practice with using Unity, rotating around the scene, selecting objects, putting objects in, developing an inner narrative for the scene itself, what's going on inside of it. I'm going to do something on the background, which will just be like a really tall, we'll do a couple of really tall style walls. That way, these walls will be on the far background. So visually, it's just going to represent a like a block for the viewers side, so that if you were actually making a game, they get up to the wall, they can't really see what's past it, but it feels like it has potential to be really large inside the scene. So we'll do this one and this. We'll make a copy. Remember, Control D to make a copy. We'll rotate it 90 degrees and move it over here. There we go. So setting this up, we give ourselves just a basic little scene with an angle right there that we can use. Now, if we were trying to place in the visual side of it for the lighting, we'll set that up as a separate one, and we'll do the dressing, scene dressing and stuff as a separate as well coming up next.